Picture this: a tiny garage on the edge of town, the kind with cracked concrete floors and a single flickering light buzzing overhead. That's where you'd find Lana Torres, 27 years old, hunched over the engine of an old truck, her hands stained black with oil. She's been at it for hours, tightening bolts and wiping sweat off her forehead with the back of her arm. It's late, probably past midnight, and she's dead tired. But there's this faint spark in her eyes, like she's chasing something bigger than the rust bucket in front of her. Lana's a car mechanic, born and bred. She's been fixing engines since she was a kid, back when her dad still tinkered with cars himself. Now she works at this rundown shop, pulling double shifts just to scrape by. She's got $120 in her bank account and a dream that keeps her going, buying that old truck she's working on. Not to show off, no, she wants to turn it into a mobile repair service, something of her own. It's not a fancy dream, but it's hers, built from years of grit and grease. Now, while Lana's pouring her soul into this, her family's got their eyes elsewhere. Enter Ethan, her little brother, 24 and full of himself. Imagine a shiny red sports car rolling into their parents' driveway, engine purring like it owns the place. Ethan steps out, grinning like he's some big-time racer already, sunglasses perched on his head for extra flair. Their mom and dad rush out, clapping and beaming like he's just crossed the finish line at Daytona. That car, $40,000, straight out of their savings. They call it an investment in his future, a future where he's a TikTok racing star, apparently. Lana, though, she's standing off to the side, hands still dirty from the garage, watching this circus unfold. She'd asked her parents for a couple $100 to fix up her tools last month, nothing crazy, just enough to keep her dream alive. "We don't have the cash, Lana," they'd said, faces all serious. A week later, they handed Ethan the keys to his dream ride. So here's the question. What would you do if your family poured everything into someone else's spotlight and left your hustle in the shadows? So there's Lana, still in that cramped garage, the air thick with the smell of gasoline and metal. She's got this old truck half fixed, its hood propped open like it's begging for her to keep going. She's tired. God, is she tired. But she's got this stubborn streak that won't let her quit. Every bolt she tightens, every spark plug she swaps, it's a step closer to that mobile repair service she's been dreaming about. She's picturing it already. Her name on the side of the truck, rolling through town, fixing cars for folks who can't make it to a shop. It's not much, but it'd be hers. Meanwhile, across town at their parents' house, Ethan's making his grand entrance. Picture this, that red sports car gleaming under the afternoon sun, pulling into the driveway with a low growl. Ethan hops out, all swagger and smiles, and their mom and dad are right there, practically tripping over themselves to cheer him on. "Look at our boy," Mom says, her voice dripping with pride. "He's going to be a racing star." Dad's nodding along, hands on his hips like he's inspecting a masterpiece. Ethan revs the engine a couple times just for show, and they eat it up, clapping, laughing, the whole deal. Lana's there too, but she's off to the side, leaning against the porch railing with her arms crossed. Her hands are still smudged with grease. She'd come straight from the garage, figuring she'd grab a quick bite before heading back. She watches Ethan soak up the attention, watches her parents fawn over him, and there's this knot tightening in her chest. He's going on about how he's already got a few thousand followers on TikTok from his car videos. "This baby's gonna take me places," he says, patting the hood like it's his ticket to fame. "I'm thinking I'll set up a little studio, really lean into the racing vibe." That's when it gets worse. Ethan turns to Lana, smirking, and says, "Hey, you're not using that old corner of the garage anymore, right? The one with all your junk? I could turn it into my filming spot, lights, cameras, the works. It'd look killer with the car parked there." Lana's jaw drops, but before she can even get a word out, Dad chimes in. "Great idea, Ethan. That space is just collecting dust anyway." Mom nods, all enthusiastic. "You've got a real eye for this stuff, honey." Let me paint you a picture of that old corner. It's not just some dusty storage spot. It's Lana's workshop. It's where she's been piecing together this crazy idea for a hybrid engine, scavenging parts from junkyards and staying up late to test it. It's a mess, sure. Tools scattered everywhere, oil cans stacked in the corner, but it's her mess. And now Ethan wants to kick her out of it for his TikTok dreams. She bites her tongue, but you can see the fire in her eyes starting to flicker. Rewind a bit. A couple months back, Lana had gone to her parents with her own request. Nothing big, just a few $100 to help her buy that truck she's been fixing. She'd laid it all out, how she'd use it to start her business, how it'd pay off in the long run. "We don't have that kind of money lying around, Lana," Dad had said, shaking his head. "You're tough. You'll figure it out." Mom had patted her arm, all sympathetic like, "You've always been so independent." A week later, they're dropping $40,000 on Ethan's car without blinking. Independent, yeah, right. More like invisible. Back at the house, Ethan's still yapping about his plans, how he's going to film burnouts and car mods, how brands are already DMing him. Mom's glowing, saying Ethan's got that natural charisma. You don't need a fancy degree for that. Dad's all into, this is better than slaving away in some dead-end job. The jab's not subtle, and it lands right where it hurts. Lana's been busting her ass at the garage, pulling double shifts, and this is what they think of it? She grips the railing a little tighter, staring at that shiny car, and something inside her shifts. She's not just mad anymore. She's determined. While Ethan's out there revving his engine for likes, Lana's already plotting her next move, and it's bigger than anyone in that driveway could guess. So while Ethan's out there polishing his sports car and dreaming of TikTok fame, Lana's back in her little corner of the world, elbow deep in engine parts. That garage, her garage, is her sanctuary, even if it's just a beat-up shed behind the house. The walls are stained with years of oil splatters, and the air's thick with the tang of metal and gas. She's got this old truck she's been nursing back to life, but it's more than that now. She's working on something else, something nobody knows about yet. Not her parents, not Ethan, not even the guys at the shop where she pulls her day shifts. Lana's got this wild idea she's been chasing for months, a hybrid engine, pieced together from scraps she's scavenged from junkyards and spare parts she's traded for on the cheap. It's not some high-tech lab setup. She's doing it with second-hand tools and a beat-up workbench, hunched over late at night after her shifts are done. She'll stumble in from the garage job, still in her coveralls, and get right to it. Some nights she's there till the sun peeks over the horizon, her hands shaking from too much coffee and not enough sleep. She's got $120 in her account, and half of that's earmarked for rent, but she keeps pouring herself into this project. Why? Because if it works, it could change everything. Her truck, her business, her whole damn life. She's not loud about it, though. That's not Lana's style. While she's twisting wires and testing fuel lines, Ethan's over at the house, loud as ever. He's got his phone propped up on a tripod, filming himself waxing poetic about his car. "Just hit 500, 0 followers, guys," he brags, leaning against that red hood like it's his throne. brands are sliding into my DMs, big ones too. This is just the start. Their parents are eating it up. Mom's practically glowing every time he posts a new video saying stuff like, Ethan's got that natural talent, you can't teach that. Dad's nodding along, all serious like he's some racing scout. Way better than slaving away in a greasy shop, he says, and Lana catches the dig from across the yard. She doesn't flinch, just keeps her head down, but it stings. See, Lana's days are a grind. She's up at dawn clocking in at the garage to fix flat tires and busted transmissions for folks who barely tip. Then she's taking side gigs, tuning up a neighbor's old sedan or swapping out brakes for a friend's pickup just to scrape together a few extra bucks. Every cent goes into that truck or her engine project. She's got notebooks full of sketches and calculations, pages smudged with oil from her fingers. It's messy, unglamorous work, but she's good at it. Damn good. And she knows if she can just get this hybrid thing running, it might be her ticket out of this cycle. One night, she's sitting there in the shed, the truck's engine humming quietly after a test run. Her phone buzzes on the workbench, lighting up with an email she almost misses. It's from Apex Motors, this mid-sized company she'd sent a rough design to months ago on a whim. Dear Ms. Torres, it reads, we were intrigued by your hybrid engine concept. It's unconventional but promising. Please send us more details. We'd like to explore a potential partnership. Her heart skips a beat, and for a second she just stares at the screen, grease-streaked fingers hovering over the reply button. This could be it. Real validation, real money, a real shot. But she doesn't tell a soul. Not yet. She tucks the phone away, grabs a wrench, and gets back to work. This isn't about bragging. It's about proving something, even if it's just to herself. Back at the house, Ethan's still riding his high. He's got his buddies over, showing off the car's horsepower, talking about how he's going to film a burnout video that'll break the internet. Mom's in the kitchen, gushing to a neighbor about how Ethan's got that spark. Always has. Dad's out there, too, tossing out lines like, he's living the dream, not just punching a clock. Lana hears it all from the shed, the words drifting through the open window like a slap. She tightens a bolt a little harder than she needs to, her jaw set. They don't see her, don't get it, but they will. She's building something bigger than a flashy car or a viral video, and she's doing it on her own terms. Things are heating up now. Ethan's decided it's time for his big moment, a car reveal party right in their parents' backyard. He's got the whole setup, string lights dangling from the trees, a playlist blaring through a Bluetooth speaker, and a dozen of his buddies milling around with beers in hand. That red sports car's parked front and center, waxed to a mirror shine, and Ethan's strutting around like he's about to unveil a Ferrari at a car show. Their parents are all in on it, too. Mom's snapping pics for her Facebook, and Dad's handing out snacks like it's a damn tailgate. This is Ethan's launch, Dad says to one of the neighbors. He's going places. Lana's there, but she's not part of the festivities. She's just come from the garage, still in her faded work shirt, a streak of oil smudged across her cheek. She's leaning against the back porch, arms crossed, watching Ethan soak up the spotlight. He's got his phone out, filming a quick TikTok. Big things coming, fans, stay tuned. And the crowd's eating it up. Then he turns to Lana, that smirk of his creeping across his face. Hey, sis, he calls out, loud enough for everyone to hear. You're not still messing with that junk in the shed, right? I'm thinking I'll take it over for my filming spot. Lights, cameras, the whole vibe. Way better use for it than your old truck. The yard goes quiet for a second. all eyes flicking between them. Lana doesn't say anything at first, just lets out this sharp little laugh that cuts through the chatter. "My junk?" she says, pushing off the porch and stepping forward. Ethan rolls his eyes like he's humoring her, but there's something in her stance that makes Mom fidget with her phone and Dad pause mid-bite. "Nah, Ethan," she goes on, "you don't get it yet, do you?" She pulls her laptop from her beat-up backpack, the one she's been lugging around since community college, and flips it open. "Let me show you something," she says, plugging it into the old TV they've got set up for outdoor movie nights. The screen flickers to life, and up pops this intricate diagram, a hybrid engine, all jagged lines and annotations. It's rough, hand-drawn in places, but anyone with half a brain can see it's something special. Ethan snorts, "What, more of your nerdy sketches?" But Dad's not laughing. He used to be a mechanic himself, back before he traded his toolbox for a desk job, and his eyes narrow as he steps closer to the screen. "This," Lana says, clicking to the next slide. "Charts, test results, numbers that mean nothing to Ethan but everything to Dad, is what I've been building while you've been doing donuts for likes." The crowd's shifting now, murmurs rippling through Ethan's buddies. She clicks again and there's an email from Apex Motors. "We're prepared to offer you $120,000 up front for your hybrid engine design, plus a percentage of profits if it goes to production. Welcome aboard, Miss Torres." She lets that sink in, her voice steady but her hands trembling just a little. "They're calling it a game changer. Said it could cut emissions on heavy-duty trucks by 30%. And I did it with scraps in that shed you want to turn into your little studio." The backyard's dead silent now. Ethan's mouth opens, then closes, like a fish gasping for air. But, that's not fair," he sputters. "I'm the one who's supposed to—" He stops, because what's he gonna say? That he's supposed to be the star? Mom's clutching her phone so tight her knuckles are white, and Dad's just staring at the screen, his old mechanic brain kicking into gear. He knows what he's looking at. He knows it's real. "Lana," he starts, his voice low. "How long have you been working on this?" "Long enough," she says, shutting the laptop with a snap. "While you were dropping 40 grand on his future, I was building mine. 3 jobs, late nights, no help, just me and that junk you didn't care about." She looks at Ethan, then her parents, and there's this fire in her eyes that's been simmering for years. "So no, little brother, you're not getting my shed, and you might want to start thinking about what's next, 'cause I've got a contract to sign and a business to run." She grabs her bag and heads for the house, leaving them all standing there, jaws on the ground, the party popping like a balloon with a slowly. Lana's bombshell still echoing through the backyard, the air heavy with shock, and that awkward silence you get when nobody knows what to say. Ethan standing there by his car, his face red, his buddies shifting uncomfortably like they're not sure if they should clap or slip away. Mom's muttering something about needing a minute and heads inside, while Dad's still staring at where the TV screen went dark, like he's trying to piece together how his daughter pulled this off under his nose. Lana's already halfway to the house, her backpack slung over one shoulder, when it happens, the twist that flips everything upside down. One of Ethan's buddies, this lanky guy named Jake who's been filming the whole party on his phone, suddenly goes stiff. Dude," he says, holding up his screen, "you're not gonna like this." Ethan snatches it and his cocky grin vanishes fast. The video's shaky, but it's clear enough. There's Ethan, a couple weeks back, sneaking into Lana's shed at night. He's got a flashlight in one hand and a wrench in the other, and he's poking around her hybrid engine setup. You hear him mutter, "Let's see how far this junk gets her now," before he yanks a couple wires loose and tweaks something on the fuel line. He's grinning like he's pulled off some genius prank, then slips out, leaving the mess behind. The backyard erupts. "What the hell, man?" Jake says, yanking his phone back. "You posted that to our group chat. I didn't know you were serious." Ethan's scrambling now, words tumbling out. "It was a joke, okay? I didn't think. She wasn't supposed to." But it's too late. Jake's already hit share, and that clip's zipping around their crew's phones faster than Ethan's car on a straightaway. Lana stops dead in her tracks, turns around and walks back, her face a mix of fury and disbelief. "You did what?" she says, voice low and sharp enough to cut steel. Here's the kicker. That little sabotage, it's the reason Lana's engine works. See, she'd been stuck for weeks, hitting a wall with the design. Something about the fuel mix wasn't clicking. The night after Ethan messed with it, she'd gone in, found the damage, and spent hours fixing it. Only in the process she'd stumbled onto the tweak that made the whole thing sing. A fluke that cut emissions and boosted efficiency. She'd thought it was her own late-night genius, but nope. It was her brother's dumbass move that handed her the breakthrough. Irony doesn't get much thicker than that. Ethan's buddies are turning on him now. "Bro, you tried to screw her over and she still beat you?" one says, shaking his head. The clip's already leaking beyond the party. Someone posts it to TikTok with a caption, "This guy trashed his sister's work and she turned it into gold. Karma's wild." Within hours, it's got thousands of views, and Ethan's followers start dropping like flies. "Fake racer," the comments say. "What a loser." The brands he'd been bragging about. They're ghosting him by morning, deals evaporating faster than his ego. Lana's standing there, watching it all unfold, and there's this moment where you can see her brain catching up. She grabs Jake's phone, replays the video, and lets out this bitter laugh. "You telling me," she says, locking eyes with Ethan, "I've got you to thank for this?" He's got nothing, just stammers and looks to their parents like they'll bail him out. But Mom's inside, probably crying into a glass of wine, and Dad's face is a mask of regret. "Lana," he starts, stepping forward. "We didn't know." He didn't mean. "Save it," she cuts him off, handing the phone back to Jake. "I don't need your excuses, and I sure as hell don't need your help now. That shed, it's mine. That engine, mine. And this contract," she pulls out her phone, flashing the Apex Motors email, "that's mine too. You all made your choices. Live with them." She turns to Ethan, who's shrunk about 3 sizes under the glares of his own crew. "Good luck with your studio, little brother. Looks like you'll need a new angle now." She walks off for real this time, leaving the party in chaos. Ethan's reputation trashed, his car suddenly looking a lot less shiny, and their parents grappling with the mess they've ignored for years. That video's still spreading, and by night's end, it's clear. Lana's not just winning, she's rewriting the whole damn game. A few weeks later, the dust has settled, or at least it's starting to. Lana's not in that cramped shed anymore. She's signed the deal with Apex Motors, and that $120,000 check hit her account like a lifeline. She's used it to buy the old truck outright, plus a little patch of land near the garage where she used to work. Now she's got her mobile repair service up and running. Her name stenciled in bold white letters on the side of that beat-up rig, Torres Auto Solutions. It's not flashy, but it's hers, built from years of sweat and a breakthrough she never saw coming. She's even got a couple mechanics on her crew now, and they're booking jobs faster than she can keep up. That hybrid engine? Apex is fast-tracking it to production, and Lana's name's on the patent, her ticket to a future she earned every inch of. Ethan, though? He's a different story. That video of him sabotaging Lana's work went viral, racking up millions of views and a flood of hate comments. Fake Racer turned into his online nickname, and his followers bailed, down to a couple thousand diehards who probably just stick around for the drama. The brands he'd bragged about pulled out, and his racing career crashed before it even started. Last Lana heard, he's washing cars at some strip mall joint, trying to scrape together rent money. Their parents had to sell that red sports car to cover bills after pouring so much into Ethan's flop. Mom's been quiet and Dad's been leaving voicemails Lana doesn't return. Stuff like, "We're sorry, let's talk." Too late for that. She's out on a job one day, fixing a busted alternator under the midday sun, when she catches a glimpse of her reflection in the truck's window. Grease on her face, hair tied back, but there's this quiet pride in her eyes she hasn't seen before. She thinks about Ethan's party, about that moment she walked away, and it hits her. This isn't about revenge, not really. It's about rising so high the people who doubted her can't help but look up and wonder how they missed it. Her phone buzzes with a new booking and she smiles. She's got work to do, a business to grow, and for once, it's all on her terms. No apologies, no handouts, just her.